So without further ado, I want to introduce Dave. Dave Mongielo. He is the owner of Mongielo's Auto Repair and Parts. He's come from Lockport, ran for office a few times himself. Fantastic guy to work with. I just met him doing this, but Dave, if you want to come on up here and speak.
Thanks, Elise. Thanks for all your hard work. Hi, everyone. I, like so many others, wasn't involved until I became a victim. And some of you guys might have heard of my story. I was basically sentenced to jail for 10 days because I put fundraising on my sign in front of my business. Yes, it was fundraising, advertising fundraising events so people can help pay their medical bills. But that led me on a path, plus other things that happened in my life. You know, I was a victim of the family court system early on, along with my sisters. And with trying to run my business, things that have happened throughout the years of just trying to be a good human being and trying to survive through the years, always seems like the government always wanted something. They wanted something. And when this happened with my signer deal, I just couldn't believe it. It just blew me away that our judicial system has become what it is, or even what our government is. So that led me on a path. I'm an auto mechanic into computer diagnostics. I like analyzing things and really digging down into the grassroots, what causes certain things. And the first thing I looked in was the legal system. And to come to find out that it really doesn't represent anything what our forefathers have put in place. Nothing at all. And so what has happened? What has happened is virtually 100 years of indoctrination, 100 years of going on a path totally different than what our forefathers put in place. And it's nothing new. It's really, as early as 10, 15 years after the Constitution, there was laws that were unconstitutional. Some have said I'm too radical, but in my opinion, that's my opinion, that there's things out there, and these things they gave us really need to be taught. And one of the things I found out is jury nullification, because a lot of people don't understand the term. Who has heard about it, who knows what it means out here? So about 25, 30%. So jury nullification means that we get to judge the law, and that is the most important concept of what America is. This is a statement from Thomas Jefferson. I consider trial by jury as the only anchor ever yet imagined by a man by which the government can be held to the principles of its Constitution. There's an organization out there called FIJA, Fully Informed Jury Association. They got brochures online. Here's just one of the small things in the brochure. Government teachers won't teach you this in school, but a jury has more authority than Congress, the President, or even the Supreme Court. Judges say the law is for them to decide. That's not true. When you are a juror, you have the right to decide both the law and the fact. American jurors have a proud tradition of saying no and not guilty when a bad or corrupt law are used against the people. You can protect yourself and friends and family by refusing to enforce bad laws in our system of checks and balances. You, the juror, are the final judge of law and justice. So what has happened through the years, because it's bad enough we're ignorant, we don't know this process exists, but the court system and the procedure laws that the bureaucrats have put in place, they don't want even the courtroom or the jury to even know that jury nullification exists, to the point where if you're ever questioned for jury duty, you will be asked, what do you know? And if you say you know anything about nullification, you're kicked right out, which is totally unconstitutional, but it's so out of control now, that's what's going on. And not only the jury, we've looked into the grand jury and found out the grand jury actually has authority that I never knew existed. So back in 1930, the grand jury in downstate New York fired their own attorney, fired their own district attorney, hired one they trusted. I don't know if you ever heard about Tammany Hall and all the corruption in downstate New York. That's how it was stopped. The grand jury is not part of the government body. And there's Antonin Scalia had a decision in 1992 called U.S. versus Williams. he said in that decision that being the grand jury is only mentioned in the Bill of Rights, it's only in the hands of the people, serving as a buffer between the people and the government. So the grand jury always had the authority to investigate merely of a suspicion of a wrong to assure that nothing wrong is going on. So, and I've heard stories from people that were on the grand jury, and the government kind of feeds you little things. Yeah, you can do what you want, but you got to follow the law. You got to follow the law. Someone called my garage the other day and said, Dave, the Nard County District Attorney's on the radio. Why don't you call and ask her some questions? So I did. And her name was Carolyn Watazik. And I said, Carolyn, I found something really interesting. What is that? I said, I found in California that every county in California has a statutory complaint form where the citizens can file a direct complaint to the grand jury to investigate bad government. Then I found out that U.S. versus Williams, and I found out that the grand jury is the true protector of the people. It's not electing people, the grand jury is. And even says right in the Declaration of Independence that we have a right to abolish what's abusive to us. And that's why the grand jury is only mentioned in the Bill of Rights. It's not in any body of the Constitution whatsoever. It's only in the Bill of Rights. And many people say it's the fourth branch of the government, only in our hands to protect the government. She goes, yeah, Dave, you're correct. I said, but the grand jury's got to use the law. The grand jury, has to use these procedures of the law and everything else. I said, well, you're making a good point there. When you say law, I says, are you talking about natural law that's mentioned in the Declaration of Independence? Are you talking about the common law that's mentioned in the Bill of Rights? That means law that existed prior to the writing of our Constitution? Click, they hung up the phone on me. Because that's it. Our law of America is natural law. It's mentioned right in our Declaration of Independence. It says natural law and law of God. And if you search topics like Judge Napolitano, natural law at the Mises Institute, there's a great presentation he teaches about the elements of natural law, what it's about, and how we judge our law from our hearts. It's simply good versus evil. It's not statute, codes, and rules that bureaucrats made up. So the most powerful aspect we have as human beings is to use our heart to judge the law and the facts and to educate others on that, and educate others of the power of the grand jury. If you know anybody on the grand jury, they have the power to fix everything in government. But we don't know that. And that's why we're led this illusion that electing people fixes government. How do you like that? We think that government fixes itself. It's ridiculous. But yet we keep on doing the same old, same old. It's that typical indoctrination, I guess, in the media and the press. We're so key to worry about what Trump is doing and Trump this and Trump that, but yet most of us don't even know who our town supervisors are, our elected officials, our committee men, our grassroots officials that affect who is up higher in government. So I just ask you to learn about it. If you got any questions, my business cards are in the back table there. Shoot me an email. You got any questions, we'll be around for questions and answers on this. I got a few brochures, but not too many on the jury nullification. And the next speaker up here is Jim Ostrowski. I met Jim back in the days of running for committee men. Everybody hear the committee man? What that is before? Did you ever hear that? A precinct captain, that positions at all? Nobody? So the precinct captain or the committee man is a local elected position that's being hidden from you. So whatever political party you belong to, there's a representative that lives within 5 blocks of your house that links you to your political party. Yet we don't know that exists, and they purposely don't want us to know that. So I get involved with doing presentations, getting grassroots people involved in this process to come to find out that the political parties have manipulated. We got elected as committee members. It's very easy. You walk around a neighborhood, get 10 signatures, you're elected as a county representative in your party. You go to a county meeting by law, and you decide who runs for every single elected office, including the president. So when you hear this term, this is the endorsed candidate, that comes from the person that lives within 5 blocks of your house, but you don't know he's even there. So we found out politicians are getting in it. We found out family members of politicians, people that contribute their campaigns. So that's how it's being abused at a grassroots level that we don't even know. They're there. And your local politicians are to blame for what's going on here, like you wouldn't believe. But Jim Ostrowski, I met him going through the process along with the Tea Party. And Jim is an attorney, more of a libertarian, more of a liberty type attorney. He believes in fighting for our rights. And Jim has been one of the very few attorneys that gets very emotionally involved and feels for his clients and will defend people for, in my opinion, something that is, most attorneys that would charge you $20,000 for, Jim would do it for maybe $500 half the time. But here's Jim Ostrowski, and thank you, everybody.